What if I told you you could leverage DeepSeqR straight into your AI agents, enabling you to automate so much of your workflow, get so many insights into the businesses that you're working with, and streamline your sales process? Well, that's exactly what we're going to be running through today, and why DeepSeek and using their tools is so important to be cost effective while still getting some great outputs. As you can see here, we're going to be building it out in n8n. So we're going to have the main agent that's going to be able to receive some chat messages. Again, you could use this with WhatsApp, Telegram, Slack, whatever you wanted as the input. We're just going to be using the in-house chat function today. We're going to be able to choose the AI model, as you can see in the bottom left-hand corner there. We're going to give it some memory so it's able to remember what we're doing. We'll be able to search the internet. We're going to be able to engage with our CRM. In this case, we're going to be using Airtable, but you could connect to Pipedrive or many others. We're going to be able to send off some information to our made.com scenario to make some updates. And we can create meetings, write emails, all with memory, again, to what we've done in the past with the conversations, any wider information that we've stored in Google Drive as well. So lots that we can get into. So first of all, if you want to get access to the resources, they're all in the link below. All you need to do is click on it. It'll bring you into our school account here. As you can see, we've got AI agent. We'll click into here, and all you need to do is come down to the bottom, click blueprint. That will then download it. So as you can see here, download. All you need to do is make sure that you've got that JSON file, come in, create a new workflow. In the top right, click up here, do import from file. Then all you need to do, nice and simple, is import that blueprint, as you can see here, the JSON, and then it'll be all ready to go for you straight away. Brilliant. So let's wipe all of this. So we're going to be building it from scratch together, and we're going to go through step by step together. So first of all, why is DeepSeek so important? Well, as you can see here, this is from DeepSeek themselves. This is how it's performing against the other models, which are O1, in this case from OpenAI. So we've got the dark blue here, which as you can see is performing incredibly well. Again, there's some skepticism around whether it costs 6 million to develop, or that may have just been the last training run. But what you can see here is we're getting some incredibly great outputs. But if we come across to artificial analysis, I love this website. This is the key part. It's incredibly cheap to run. So as you can see here, we've got DeepSeek version 3, we've got GPT-4o, we've got Claude, we've got DeepSeqR. So that's one of the latest and more powerful models, the reasoning models. We've then got O1, and then we've got Claude 3 Opus. So what do we need to look at here? Well, we've got the input price, and then we've got the output price. And this is really important to watch. So as you can see here, to use DeepSeqR, it's going to cost around $3 per million tokens. Again, remember, 100 tokens is around 75 words. So in this case, a million tokens is around 750,000 words. If we look at the comparable of that, so to do the exact same thing in O1, you're looking at around $15 instead of $3. But the output price, this is where it's staggering. We go up to $60 for OpenAI, whereas we're only at $3.20 to be able to use DeepSeqR. So huge cost efficiencies, especially if you're working with lots and lots of data and want to be able to get some great insights from it. So let's jump straight into it. Well, what we're going to be doing today is building out that agent. So the first step we're going to be doing here is we're going to be triggering through on-chat messages. Again, as we mentioned, we're able to do that through WhatsApp, Telegram, anywhere else. But we're going to be using the in-chat today, which as you can see at the bottom is down here. The next part is we're going to be building out our AI agent. So we've got tool agent, connected trigger. So again, that's going to be the one that we just generated, the chat message. We're then going to be able to have that as the input. So that's all good to go. Now settings, again, you can change some of that if you want to. We're going to have a few other videos on the channel that are going to deep dive into this. So what we need to do first is around the chat memory model. So this is where there we're going to be a slight bit of trickery to be able to get this, to be able to use it. So as you can see here, we've got open router chat model. So as you can see in here, we can come down and do create new credential. We can do this, and then we need the API key. So to come into open router is great because you've got all of the models available to you, so many different varieties. So for example, here again, we can do DeepSeek. Again, we've got DeepSeqR free, R1, so many different areas, but we need the API key. So we want to come into keys. So we're going to do create a key. We're going to come down here and do n8n Deepseek sales agent. We're going to give it a $10 limit just on how much it can spend. Again, this is really good practice. We just need to copy this key here, come back into our scenario, paste in the API key there, do save, and then it should go green. So that means we're all connected. So what's great about this is we're now able to use all of the different models that you can see here. So what we can do is we can look for DeepSeqR. There we go. And now it's all good to go. So that's how easy it is to get it in there. So we'll just rename this to, so we can do DeepSeek AI Brain. Great. The other way of doing this, which we've seen a few other people do online, is if we come down and add a node. What you can also do is if we just create another AI agent for a second, is within the chat memory, you can actually do another way, which is using OpenAI. We then want to come into where we've got, for example, DeepSeek. What you want to do in here is we're going to be using the API key that we've got from our open router, so exactly the same. But if we come back into here, what we're going to be using is this base URL instead, and that's going to redirect it to open router instead, which is another way that you can pull in the models. And then all you need to do is in here, you've got the list that you can drop down and you can choose from, or you can do expression, you can get rid of that. If we come into open router, we'll search for DeepSeqR1. And then you just want to copy this in here. So this DeepSeek/DeepSeqR1. We want to come back into our scenario, paste that in there, and then that's how you'll be able to use it as well. So a few different ways that you can do it. Again, as mentioned, we're going to be leveraging this specific open router way, which is great. So the memory, again, this is where we were able to do Windows buffer memory. So what this basically means is we're going to store the latest 10 messages in this conversation to be able to use it. So it's just going to enable us to say and follow up, for example, please could you tell me the top 10 items on X account, and then you can chat with that as well and get a bit more information from it. Again, it just enables us to have a bit more relevance in this actual conversation versus more like your automations where it's executing one time and it doesn't have the information to go and complete other actions. Brilliant. So this is the first part here. So if we give this a test, what we'll be able to do is chat. We can say hi there. As you can see, it's going through, it's now leveraging our R1 model straight away. And what we'll be able to get is an output at the bottom here that is just going to say, hi, how are you? Or whatever it finds as the best response. What you do need to consider though is at the moment, there are a few issues with the DeepSeek API. So it may be a bit slower than usual. As you can see here, it's having a few outages at the moment. But again, they're trying to resolve this as fast as possible. If we come into here, as we can see, hi there. Hi, how can I assist you today? So great. What we're able to do is use that memory, use the DeepSeqR1 model, which is so much more cost effective than using some of the other one out there. So the next part, we're going to go through and actually connect it to the internet so we can do some searching. So you want to add the tool. We want to come into here and we want to do, as we can see here, SERP API. Now to connect this, again, we're going to be coming into here and we need to add in our API key. So to do that, you want to come across to SERP, you want to sign in or register. You want to come in and you'll find your account here. At the bottom, you have a private API key. All you want to do is copy your API key, come back into here, paste it in there, and it'll go green. So we're all connected up. We'll be all good to go. I've already got mine authenticated. That's why it's gone green straight away. So as we can see in here, we'll do rename to search the internet. Brilliant. So what else can we get it to do? Well, as you can see here, we're going to be using Airtable as our CRM. We want to connect it to make.com as well as Google. So if we're going to go through and do Airtable, what we want to make sure is that we've got a base already generated. So if you come into your Airtable account, what you'll be able to do is either import, again, the CSV file that we've got in the resources below. As you can see here, we've got the resource ready to go. I've just used one of their demo tables, which all you need to do to find it is come into Airtable, templates/sales CRM. Again, I'll include some links below. And then what you want to do is just find a sales pipeline as we've got here. And then you'll be able to add that to your account. As you got here, use template, you click on that, it takes you straight through. Or if you're doing it from scratch, all you need to do is log into Airtable, and then we want to come down and we want to do create from scratch. And then you'll be able to add the exact same fields that we're running through now. I've already got the template ready to go. So again, resource link below, or you can do exactly as we've got it here. So we've got the sales pipeline is the base. And then the information we're going to be interacting with the most is probably our sales deals. You could also have sales reps, all of the other information. Again, we're going to be doing sales deals just for this demo. So we want to come back into our n8n account. We want to do tools. We want to do plus. We want to search for Airtable. We'll click on that. Now, again, we want to make sure that we've got our access token. So again, if you're not sure how to do that, what you want to do is search for Airtable access token. So I'll include the link below. All you want to do is come through to this URL. And then all you're going to do on the right hand side here is do create a token, give it a name. You'll get that specific token generated. You want to copy it across, add it into your access token here, and you'll be all good to go and able to interact here. Now, to be able to access that specific table, we need to make sure that we're connected to it, which you'll do in your authentication around actually generating the token. But if we come a bit further down here, what we'll be able to see is the descriptions. We want automatically, we're looking for a record. We want to come down and do search. And then we want to make sure we're all connected for our sales pipeline and sales deals, which are the specific Airtables that we're going to be working with, the specific tables themselves. We can do map manually or map automatically. We're going to be doing map automatically for this. And then the columns to match on, again, we could do company name, client name. You can add in all of the different fields that you've got in here that you want to connect with. Because again, what we're going to be doing is searching for as much information as possible to be able to engage with this in our conversation. So we'll close all of that down. We'll make sure that's all added, and then we'll close. So now what we're able to do in here is search for Airtable records, and we'll be able to pull those into the conversation. So if we give that a quick test, we can say, please tell me the highest value opportunities. So we just switched it over to Claude because it was having a few API issues, as you can see from the previous part of the video. Just because, as we mentioned, DeepSeek's down at the moment, so it's just having a few issues. But once it's back up and running, as you saw at the start, you'll be able to use this nice and easy. So we'll use 3.5 Sonnet, and we'll go through and we'll say, please tell me the highest value opportunity in our pipeline. And then what it should be able to do is go off and search Airtable, come back and provide that information to us. So again, imagine if you're on a sales call, you'd be able to pull up the notes, the information when they first contacted them, what the opportunity description is. And as you can see here, we've got lots of information that we're able to go through. And this is all pulled directly from Airtable that we were just working with. And we'll say, please tell me the highest open opportunities. Because if we saw above here, we had some of them that were closed won. So we want the ones that are still open, still active, so still being used. Again, we'll go through and show the searching of the internet as well in a second. So we can say, brilliant. So we've got a few here, as you can see, total value around 12,000 for some flooring and tiling, around some of the automation opportunities that you could do. So let's go and search the internet. We can say, please tell me the best solution for a company. Please use the internet. So what it should go off is use this SERP API now, and we'll see a green loading going through in a second. It will go off and be able to identify, as you can see there, what the latest information is, and it should give us a nice response back. So as we can see in the background here, is going through, doing a couple of checks. So what we should get in a second is a nice formatted response that basically says what the best solutions would be for a flooring and tile company for an automation site. So as we can see here, we've got material calculation, job costing, we've got some business project management side, lots and lots of information there. So again, this is all being updated dynamically. So if you're on a sales conversation, you'll be able to do this, and that's what we're going to go through next, is able to add that back into our Airtable. So to do that, we're going to be using Webhooks. We'll come through and we'll do HTTP request. Again, we can put a description in here, so we'll call that for updating Airtable. Again, this is the only way that I found that I've been able to do it, but if you've got a better way, I'm all ears in the comments. But also, I think as these tools go through and update and improve, we'll be able to do it dynamically straight away into Airtable itself. We're going to change this to post because we're going to be sending information off to Airtable. And now we need the URL and the rest of the information. So this is the example that we've got in here that we'll be able to go through and do. So we're going to generate a new scenario. What we'll then be able to do is import the blueprint that we've got. Again, we're able to do this together if we wanted to. This is how you'll be able to do it automatically. But we're going to go through and do this ourselves from the actual start. So what we're going to be starting off with is webhooks. So you want to come down to the bottom here and do webhooks. And then we're going to click in here and we're looking for custom webhook. Now I've already got one generated, so let's use that. What we're going to be looking to do is create a hook. So to do that, you need to do add. We'll do n8n sales agent, and then we'll do save. Now, can you see we've got the URL here, and then we've also got it saying stop because it's looking to determine the data that we're sending through. So we'll come back into n8n, we'll copy this address, we'll paste it in here. And what we need to do in here is the record_ID, because that's what we're going to be sending through. And then we're going to do action_required. And again, this is all going to be value provided by the model. So it's going to be actually looking for it and trying to provide that information across to the scenario versus us having to specify it more as like a fixed variable, which is great. Makes it really dynamic. So that's all good to go. We'll rename this to send information to web. You can also call that maybe update Airtable. So let's call it update Airtable. Brilliant. So what we're looking for is if we come down here, we can say, what is the opportunity ID, record ID for this specific entity that we've got as one of the opportunities. And then what we'll be able to do is go through it and say that we're looking to update that specific field in Airtable. It looks like it's trying to work through sort of the Airtable tool. As we've got here, we've got one around updating a record, which is in here, but it gets a bit funny sometimes and doesn't seem to work as well. So let's just get rid of that. So as we can see here, if we come back into our scenario, it looks like it's sent some information across, which is great. So that should be successfully determining the data structure. So if we come down here, what we're going to say is, please, can we update with the new title of AI flooring agent? And then we'll send that off and it should come across to this webhook. Again, we're going to go through and give this AI agent some specific prompting in a minute, so it knows all of the activities that are available to it. But this is what it's able to do even without that prompting. If we come back into our scenario, as we can see here, we're now getting the record ID come across and we're getting the specific action that's associated with it. So great, it's able to receive information. Now, if we come across to Airtable, what we want to do is say get a record. We're going to connect it up to our sales pipeline. So you need to do add connection type OAuth, and we'll do a n8n AI sales agent. We'll do save. It'll take us through to this screen to be able to choose a base. So that's all you need to do here. We've chosen our specific pipeline. We'll do grant access, and then this will take us back into our make.com scenario, and we'll be able to use the information that's in here. Now, why did we pass the record ID across? Well, that's what we're going to be searching for, and that's how we're going to be searching in our Airtable here. So if we come down, we're doing sales deals, and then we're going to be passing in that record ID to be able to search for that information. So if I copy this here, we'll be able to search for the information, just get rid of the blank space at the start. And now it's going to pull back all of that information and we'll be able to do something with it. So we can say retrieve record information. Brilliant. So that's all good to go. The next stage, we're going to be using DeepSeek and a parser to be able to actually analyze what the action is and what we need to do. So we're going to paste these across just nice and easy for time. There we go. And then we'll connect them all up and we'll walk through what the prompt is and how we're using it. So in this case, we're using OpenRouter. So again, you want to come down here, OpenRouter, create a chat completion. Again, if we come into here, we've got a two-stage prompt that we're going to be using. So what's the prompt that we've given it? Well, we've said that it's able to do these three actions: create a record, update a record, or delete a record. We want it to output a JSON file that's going to have the action and then the fields that need to be updated, deleted, whatever it may be. So as you can see here, we're going to update a record, the title, what that would be. We've got another one here around the client name, phone number, email that maybe needs to be updated. We're going to be deleting data, as we can see in here. So again, lots of actions that you're able to take. Now, how does it know what action to take? Well, we're going to be passing in this information from that first webhook module, which is the action that we want it to do. As you can see down here, there's a few different ways of leveraging it. So again, with OpenRouter, able to use all of the different models that we've got out there. So as we can see here, DeepSeek, we've got V3 in there at the moment. You can change into R1, whatever you wanted. What we've also done is, if we activate the advanced mode, is make sure that we've got fallback. So if we're not able to use DeepSeek, it's going to go to another one. And we've also got JSON mode output, because that's what we want to be able to take that output and be able to do something with it. Next, we've got this JSON parsing module. So again, come down to here, we've got JSON, we've got parse. So we're able to go through and actually analyze the data that comes out. So to give you an example, we can copy this. And then if we execute this module, it's going to be taking the output from the last one, and it's going to be making it into a much more usable format for us to be able to go and use it in the future. Now, to do that, all you would need to do is come add, generate, import one of the examples, like you can see here, of the output you want, and then it will come through and actually generate it for you. We've already done that, and we're going to be using the output from our DeepSeek OpenRouter module, which is going to be here, and that's going to be the content from that specific module. So that's great. Next, what we want to be able to do is take that specific action and do something with it. So as you can see here, we've got a router. So again, to add that, you just come through and do add router, and then we've given it three options. So each of them are from Airtable, and we're doing update a record. As you can see there, we're doing create a record, and we're doing delete a record. So they're the three modules that we're going to be using. We've also added a filter in here. So we've got create a record, and then what we're going to be doing is checking the output from our parse there and seeing if it contains create. We're going to update if we've got the action saying that it needs to do update. So as you can see here, contains the word update, and then delete again down here. We're going to say that the action contains delete. So we know that we need to go and delete it. So again, making sure they're all connected up to our base. We've then got the table that we're going to be going through, and now we can import the actions that we want to update. So in this case, if we're creating, We're going to pull in the company name. We're going to put in the client name. We're going to do the email. So again, you can click on there and it'll put across, again, phone number. We can do the title. We can do description. So again, we can do the rep, all of this information. We can specify what good looks like to the, again, DeepSeek, the AI brain a bit further on, and this will know what it needs to output. We've got the forecast value. We've got probability, and then we've got some notes at the bottom as well. We'll do save. Now we'll go through and do the exact same for the updated record. So we're updating it where it's needed. Again, we're going to be using the ID from here, from our original, so the first Airtable, to make sure that we're using the same record. We're going to come down here and we're going to update all of this information, and then we'll do save. So this is going to, again, be using the ID from the first one because we're saying we need to update something, versus this one here didn't need an ID because we haven't actually generated anything yet. We're going to be generating it afterwards. To delete a record, again, we need to use that record ID from the start. So again, you can either use the webhook or the Airtable. We're going to use Airtable in this case. And then we just got a webhook response saying it's been completed and it's going to send it back. What I found quite interesting is it doesn't always seem to rely on the webhook. Sometimes the AI agent will automatically go in and search for the record straight away. And then it will know that an action has been updated or completed. It will see the new title and it will work straight away. So to give this a test, we can come through and do run once. Again, we'll come in here and we'll say, please can we update record ID here to a new title. This will go through or analyze the request we're coming, and it should come across to this HTTP module. And then if we come in here, brilliant, it's all been received. So now it's going to go through and try and update it. So as we can see from this specific DeepSeek, or the AI brain really analyzing the request, it should be able to identify, okay, what do we need it to do? And then going through and make that update. So it's a bit slow at the moment. Again, we can use, for example, if you want OpenAI directly, you would come into here and you could do OpenAI, chat completion, and that would work exactly the same way. It looks like it's executed it in the background. So it's been able to go through, it looks like it's created a record, because when we passed the information over, it didn't seem to understand that it needed to actually update the agent. So all you need to do to make sure that it's updating it correctly is just specify, again, in the prompt that we're going to do in a minute to the AI agent, exactly how you want it passed across. But also in here, you just need to make sure that we've got the specified field mentioned in the prompt itself as well, so that it knows where to put it. So at least it's all working, which is great. That's exactly what we wanted. Now we're going to go through how to do the Google side, which is a bit more complicated. So we'll try and run through that pretty quickly so that you get an understanding. So to come in here, we're going to do tools. We're going to do access Google Drive. You want to do, again, this pencil in here. Now, this is where we've got all of the information, and this is where it's going to be a bit more interesting. So you want to do create new credential. You want to come down to where we've got client ID and secret. Now, to find that information, you want to come across to Google Cloud. And then what we need to do is generate a new project. So you want to click in the top left. Again, I'll include some of the links below so you know where to go. You want to do new project. You want to give it a name, so n8n AI Sales Agent. You want to do create. We'll give it a minute so that it all loads up. It's all good to go. And then what we want to do is click into there, and then we're going to go through it and add a specific field, our email address and a few other bits to make sure that it's all working nice and easy. So you want to come down to APIs and services. We want to do OAuth consent screen. We want to come into here. We want to do create. We want to give it a name. So again, n8n AI Sales Agent. We want to connect our email address in there that we're going to be using. So logging in as well. So make sure that you're using that specific email address there. We don't need to worry about the rest of that. Again, developer email addresses. We just need to put our email address in there. We'll copy that for one of the next stages as well. What we're going to do is come into this screen. So we're now in scopes. We're going to come down to the bottom. Nothing to add here. We're now in test users. So we want to add a test user. Again, this is going to be the account that you're going to be logging in with. We're going to do add. We'll do save and continue. We'll come to this summary. We'll be all good to go, and we'll do back to dashboard. Now, there's another step here, which is really key, and you need to come down to enable APIs and services. As you see, we've got no data, nothing coming through at the moment. But what you should be able to see down here is some of the key information that we can use. Now, we're going to come another way. We're going to do libraries because it's a bit easier. We want to do Google Drive, enable Google Drive API. That's going to take a while to load. We'll do Gmail. We'll enable Gmail. And that's all you need to do. So Google Calendar. And you just need to repeat this process for all of the different Google interactions that you're going to be working with. Brilliant. We've enabled a couple of those. Now, if we come back to our navigation bar, we're going to do credentials. And this is where we now need to generate our client IDs. So to do that, you want to come to the top, create credentials. You want to do OAuth client ID. What you'll see is application type. You want to do web application. You want to give it a name. So n8n AI sales agent. You want to give this redirect URL. So if we come back into n8n, you'll see this redirect URL there. We want to come back into our Google Cloud. And then all you want to do is in here, copy, paste, and create. You'll get these client IDs and client secrets. If we copy and paste these across, we'll put them in client ID, and then we'll copy the client secret, put that in there. And then as you see at the bottom, you'll get the sign in. All you need to do is click on that, sign in with that test email account that we mentioned a bit earlier, and you'll be all good to go. Again, remember that for some reason in version 1.76, there seems to be an issue. It doesn't seem to go through and do it. Version 1.77 onward seems to work fine. Again, turn off some of the VPNs and stuff you use. Try and use something like Google Chrome versus Brave that blocks some of the cookies. It just seems to work a bit better, but play around with it and see if you can get the result of all logged in. So we'll do close. We've already got one connected, so we'll be all good to go. So we can get rid of that because we're not going to be using Google Drive at this stage. We're going to be using it a bit later on for our memory. But what we can do now is quickly is add Google Calendar. We'll say that it's able to create some of the information. Again, we'll be able to connect our account. Now, down here, you'll be able to see an expression of when we want it to start. In our model that we've got here, what we'll be able to do is copy across this specific expression. What this basically means is that AI is actually going to input the information for us because it's going to understand it from the context, the memory, how it goes through and actually does it. Again, that's actually for create a meeting. We'll be able to do the exact same for Gmail. We'll do Gmail tool. Again, if you're not authenticated, create a new credential. You just need to sign in and it'll all be working. We'll come down here. We'll be able to do a draft message. So we'll come down to message, draft, create. We can put our AI expression in here as well. Message, again, AI expression in there as well. And then what that will do is automatically upload it into your draft so that you're able to do it. So we can rename this to create a draft. Brilliant. So there are two examples of how you could use it. Again, you can do other interactions with Google. So if I just load it in here, you've got Google Docs, Google Drive, Sheets, and we've got Google Calendar as well. So all of the ones that we've just run through. Now this is great, but it's only got a limited information from the context and the chat that we've gone through. What if we've got lots of docs that we need to refer back to, maybe in our Google Drive? Well, this is where we're going to be able to go through and add that in. So if we come down here a bit to the bottom, what we need to do is right click, we'll do add node, we're going to do Google Drive. And then what we're going to look for is if we collapse the actions down, we've got a trigger and we're going to say on changes involving a specific folder. Now, again, make sure that you're authenticated, make sure that you're connected. That's exactly the same as we had a bit earlier. If you've already got it generated, you'll be able to insert it there. You're able to change how quickly and how often it's going to be checking that folder if there's any updates. What we're going to say is we're going to say any changes involving a specific folder. We're going to execute this specific workflow, which is one of the great things about n8n. You can have lots of different executions all occurring within one agent versus, for example, in make.com, having lots of different scenarios to try and gather all of that information. Now, I'm going to add in a specific folder here. So I've added the folder in there. And then what we're going to do in here is do when a file is created, we're going to actually take this action. So if we do here, what we've got is a new Google Drive module, as we can see there, which is file created. So what we're looking for, look for new file. So every time you upload a new file into this Google Drive, it's automatically going to take it into our Pinecone, into our vector store database, which is what we're going to go through and do next. Next, we're going to do Google and then Drive again. We're going to do download a file. And then what we're going to do, we're going to come down here and do download. And then instead of it being from the list, we'll do an expression and we're going to input JSON ID. So what this will basically be doing is looking for any documents that are generated. It will use this specific field to go through and actually, get that information, get that specific document, and then it's going to add it to our database. So we'll get the file. Brilliant. So that's all done. What we're going to be doing is around Pinecone data store. So we'll do Pinecone vector store. And then what we're going to be doing is add documents to vector store. So again, we need to create our credentials. So we'll do new. You want to log into Pinecone. So as we can see here, you want to do create a new key. You'll give it a name. You'll be able to generate a key. You want to copy that. You want to come back into here, paste it in there, and you'll be all authenticated. We're all authenticated already, so we're going to use that. Now, what we're going to do is insert a document. We're then going to do from list. We're going to do AI sales agent, which is our specific data store that we've got. If you've not generated one already, what you need to do is come into database, create new index. We'll give it a name. So for example, we'll do AI sales agent underscore, KB. What we need in here is, again, maybe the sort of large model that we're going to be using from OpenAI. Again, serverless, we're going to be using AWS, but you can change the different ones that you want to. Again, depends on the plan that you've got. We're going to be using Virginia in this case, just to create the vector database. Again, remember, if you're working with some of the EU, UK clients, you need to make sure that you've got some of that data in the specific region, the sort of UK or EU, because of rules like GDPR. Now, that's all generated. That's all good to go. Again, if we come back into our scenario here, what we should be able to see, if we just load this back up, is we should see agent KB. So there we go, generated, and we're able to use it. You don't need to do anything else in Pinecone. That's all set up. That's all good to go. What we're going to be doing is coming down to embedding. We're going to use the OpenAI. Now, you need to make sure that you're connected. So again, you want to come into here. You want to do create a new credential. Again, you need to add your OpenAI key. So you want to do OpenAI Playground. You want to come into the OpenAI Playground platform. You want to make sure you're all logged in, and then you'll be able to get your API key from here. Slightly different to doing it normally. And then you leave the rest of the same. You'll do save, and it'll all authenticate. So that's how we're going to be doing the embeddings. The document, we're going to do default data loader. So we're going to come in here. We're going to do binary instead of JSON. We're going to input all data. And then next to that, we're going to do MIME type. And why this is key is because it's automatically going to analyze that document and understand some of the context from it, how it needs to sit in the database, what the relationships are to maybe some of the other data that's already in there, versus you having to manually specify what it is and how it works. Text splitter, we're going to come down here. We're going to do recursive character text splitter. Now, chunking size is basically how we're going to break up this text into more manageable chunks. As you can see, manageable groups, having to pass through and use that information versus having to include every bit of information from that document every single time. We'll leave that as is. We'll do OK. We'll do save, make sure that's all good to go. So this is going to be our knowledge that we're going to be inputting some information. So if I come in here, what we'll be able to do is save. We can say in our example doc that we've got here, we've got around Zenith Solutions. So again, this is not in our Airtable in here. This is specific to this contract. And what we're going to see is if it's got that information. So please, can you tell about our contract with Zenith Solutions Limited? What it should do is come back and say, I don't know anything, because again, we haven't uploaded the information. So as we can see there, I don't see a record for Zenith Solutions. So again, it's because we've not connected it to this database yet. So to do that, you need to come into Tool. We need to search for Vector. At the bottom, we've got Vector Store Question Answer Tool. Now we can give this a name. So we can do AI Sales Agent underscore KB. We're going to give it a description of retrieving all of the key document information from our Google Drive. Again, you can add it directly many different ways. We're going to be using Google Drive in this case. We'll come off that. Now, Vector Store, we're going to come in here and do Pinecone. We're going to do our AI sales agent that we've got. And then what we're going to do is keep the rest the same. We'll come out of there. We'll bring that down there so it looks a bit neater. We're going to connect in the model. So again, we use OpenRouter, so we're able to adjust that in the future. We're going to use ChatGPT 4.0 for now. But again, once DeepSeek's back up and running, you'll be able to use it directly in here. So all you want to do is come down to DeepSeek, and then you'll be able to DeepSeqR1. So hopefully they get this API issue sorted as soon as possible so we can all get back to using it. Again, if you're hosting it locally, you'll be able to do that as well. We've got our OpenRouter connection in there. We've got our Pinecone vector store in here. So again, we've connected it into this one that we store where we're adding all of the information. And the embedding, we're going to do the exact same. We're going to open AI, make sure that we're all connected. We're going to do maybe the large, and then we're going to go and close that down. Now that's all good to go. Now, if we come back in here again, what we're going to do first though is make sure that we've added that into our actual folder. So we're going to come in here, we're going to do sales contract. We're going to download this PDF. We're going to come into that specific Google Drive that we mentioned. So come again across to here. What we'll see is in the first one here, where we've actually connected it. So sales agent and then sales agent. We're going to upload that specific file. As we can see in here, that contract, we're going to do PDF. Again, this can be multiple different document styles. It doesn't just have to be PDF. What we should see from the AI agent in here is we're going to be looking for a new file. So we can do test workflow, which will be this bit at the bottom here, just to make sure that it's retrieving that information and adding it into our vector database. So there we go, all added. We'll do save, and now we can come back up to the top here and we'll say, please tell me about the contract. And what it should be able to do is go in and get that information from our vector store on the right hand side here. And then it should be able to tell us exactly what that deal is. Again, it's searched Airtable already. It won't be able to find it. Now it will come down here, be able to retrieve that information for us, ready to go. So if we wait 2 seconds, it should come through and tell us all of the information about that contract. Again, remember, it didn't have access to it a minute ago because it didn't have that document uploaded. What we do now is have it all uploaded, all ready to go. So as we can see here, contract value broken down. So we can see initial deposit, first milestone, second milestone. So if we come into the Word doc, so as we can see here, initial deposit, milestone 1, milestone 2, milestone 3. So again, now it's able to dynamically interact with all of the data. Again, if you're uploading all of these contracts into Google Drive, you'll be able to do this automatically straight away. Imagine your sales team being able to work with all of this data in real time, in the conversation, be able to update it. It's going to supercharge and enhance your sales team to be able to do so much more, provide such a better personalized experience, make you more money in the long term, but also enable you to dynamically engage with the data versus just having lots and lots of data stored in it in the past, not being used, or some of the larger ones that maybe when your organization has lots of different teams, lots of different people. Again, in here, we could say, who are the key people involved? Again, it's got that chat memory, so now it's going to go through and double check what I had in the past. Again, we're able to go through and update our AI agent, as you saw a bit earlier with the key specific prompts. So it knows who's there. It knows what it needs to do. Again, you can dynamically update it as much as you need. And as you can see at the bottom there, we've got David Collins, who's going to be from the client side. This is so useful for your sales team. Check out some of the links that you can see on the screen now. This is going to be the first of many videos around AI agents, especially at n8n. All of the resources in the link below, and have a great day.